Now at 5, the Joppa Police Department requests help finding a woman who's been missing for 30 years. Plus, allegations of misconduct by a teacher against a former Parsons High School student. And the CDC announcing nationwide changes to its COVID-19 guidelines.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joppa Police Department is asking for your help trying to solve a 30-year-old missing person case. This is KOAM News at 5. Tracy Pickett was reported missing back on August 12, 1992. The bottom right picture is a rendition of what she may look like right now. The then 14-year-old was spending the night at a friend's house in Webb City. The next morning, another guest at the sleepover offered to take her home in Joplin. That guest says he dropped Tracy off safely near a pawn shop, but she was never heard from or seen again. Police are once again asking the public for information about this case. One high school student in Parsons, Kansas, is alleging that a biology teacher had an inappropriate relationship with her. After the student's parents found inappropriate text messages from the teacher on their child's smartwatch, they immediately reported it to the administration of the school district. But parents say the school district has not handled the issue.
Did nothing to him, nothing. And she's the one who's having to change schools. He continued to teach. She had to go to a different class. You know, there's been no repercussions to him whatsoever. And we're fine. I mean, we are just tired of the process.
The alleged teacher is on administrative leave. Parsons School District declined to provide a statement. We're going to have more on this story at 6. The Mcdonald County Community Backpack Adventure has started. As the new school year kicks off, multiple businesses in Mcdonald County have gathered around to make sure students have all they need for the next school year by donating funds for 400 school bags and supplies. School district officials say this project is going to make all kids feel included.
I'm just very grateful. I mean, I don't think that you can talk enough about how important it is for a kid to feel included. And when they come in and don't have supplies and don't have the things that they need, I'm glad to work with NC for Kids to help those kids have those things and feel like they're a part of our district.
Organizers bought $8,000 worth of school supplies. Meteorologist Doug Katie joining us now. First look at the forecast. Hot ends to the work week for many of us.
Yeah, it's been dry across the region over the past several days, but again, temperatures right back up into the 90s for highs. Nothing going on across the entire 4-state area. We have pretty much clear skies. In fact, most of Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and also Oklahoma pretty much on the dry side. Temperatures are sitting lower 90s in Missouri, Arkansas, and then you hit mid to upper 90s once you get into our western counties, especially out toward Chanute, Neodesha, Parsons, Independence, all sitting at about 96, 97, 98 degrees. But here's the good news. We still don't have much in the way of humidity, so it actually feels cooler to your body than what it actually is. Through the evening hours, we slip back through the 90s, 80s, eventually into lower 70s later on tonight. We do have rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
A few. Thanks so much, Doug. Documents related to the FBI's search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate were unsealed this afternoon without any objection from Mr. Trump's lawyers. The records show that agents were directed to seize items marked as classified or related to national security. The property receipts shows the FBI retrieved 11 sets of records during Monday's search, including some labeled top secret. Authorities in Ohio say the search of Mar-a-Lago we just heard about may have motivated a man to try to force his way into an FBI field office in Cincinnati yesterday. Police say the man was armed. After a car chase, he was shot and killed. Authorities say social media posts believed to be from the suspect encourage people to go to Palm Beach, where Donald Trump's estate is located, and kill federal agents if they get in the way. No agents were hurt in the incident. Well, the nation's top public health agency has relaxed its COVID-19 guidelines. That means big changes, especially as children head back to school. Reporter Dan Lieberman has more on what this all means for you and your family.
The CDC's new guidelines mark a significant change from protocols that have kept Americans on edge for 2.5 years of the pandemic. Among its new recommendations, 6 feet of social distancing is no longer recommended. Also, people exposed to the virus no longer have to quarantine at home, but should wear masks for 10 days and test for the virus on day 5. But the guidelines around masking indoors, especially where community COVID levels are high, remain the same.
We're in a different place now with boosters, with antivirals, with monoclonal antibodies. I mean, things are much different in how we can keep people out of the hospital. Vaccinated plus an infection, hybrid immunity is very strong. And I finally see that the CDC is recognizing that.
And big changes for kids at schools across the country this fall. Masks will be optional in most districts, with some of the largest scaling back or eliminating COVID testing requirements. The American Federation of Teachers said it welcomes the CDC's new guidance. Still, the U.S. is recording more than 100,000 cases and some 500 deaths a day.
With what the tools we have, the way we keep updating them, the way we keep building better treatments, I am confident that we're going to be able to stay ahead of this virus.
The CDC estimates between vaccines and prior infections, around 95% of Americans over the age of 16 currently have some level of protection. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
The CDC is still recommending you stay away from large gatherings and consider wearing a mask indoors in public places if you live in a community currently experiencing a large uptick in cases. Still ahead, a new adaptive way to make a classic drink.
Seafood boil in a bottle. I'm Elise Preston with how this uniquely flavored whiskey is bringing awareness about invasive green crabs along the East Coast.
And next in Healthwatch, what new government data shows about how many hepatitis C patients are actually receiving treatment. Topping today's Healthwatch, a large-scale new study says mRNA COVID-19 vaccines are safe to use during pregnancy. It looked at the medical histories of women who received either the Moderna or Pfizer shot while pregnant. And within a week of their second dose, 7% felt unwell enough for any reason to miss time from work or school. Non-pregnant women were actually more likely to report that kind of health event after getting an mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. It is estimated more than 2 million people here in the U.S. are living with hepatitis C. Now, new government data shows many patients just aren't getting treatment for the deadly but curable infection. Reporter Michael George explains.
It's been nearly a decade since breakthrough treatment for hepatitis C became available in the United States. Now, a new report from the CDC shows less than 1 in 3 people with health insurance get the antiviral treatment within a year of being diagnosed.
The treatment for hepatitis C that we have currently is highly effective. It can cure more than 95% of people who take it with just 8 to 12 weeks of oral-only treatment.
Without treatment, hepatitis C can lead to advanced liver disease, liver cancer, and even death. Experts say insurance restrictions may be part of the reason for low treatment rates. Treatment can cost tens of thousands of dollars.
We need to remove eligibility restrictions, burdensome prior authorization requirements, and ensure that individuals with Hep C are accessing treatment in the settings where they receive care, like primary care offices and substance use disorder treatment centers.
New hepatitis C infections are increasing due to rising rates of injection drug use in the nation's opioid crisis. The new report shows treatment rates are lowest among adults under 40.
These treatment levels are particularly concerning because this group is the same group that we're seeing the highest rates of new infections.
The CDC says making sure everyone has access to treatment is critical for a person's health and to prevent new infections. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
It's estimated about 40% of people who have hepatitis C are unaware of their infection. CDC recommends every adult get tested for hepatitis C at least once in their lifetime. New research from the University of Ottawa aims to dispel that idea anyone can lose weight by just changing that diet. It found that some obese patients gain weight even when they adhere to a prescribed meal plan. For those individuals, it was key to combine a low-calorie diet with exercise, particularly a regimen that burns fat and boosts metabolism. And a study in the journal Current Biology explains why mentally taxing work can be physically exhausting as well. The authors say spending hours doing cognitively intense tasks can lead to a buildup of a potentially toxic brain chemical known as glutamate. Essentially, too much thinking can overload the brain, prompting it to send a shutdown signal to the rest of the body. But a good night's sleep, simple as that, usually sets things just right again. That is a look at some of today's health news. A little bit later, Johnson & Johnson making a global move over complaints about dangerous ingredients in its talc-based baby powder.
Plus, it looks like heat, more heat as we go into the weekend. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be another great day outside for us today. Temperatures, yeah, they're hot, but at least we don't have much in the way of humidity. We've been dry for a few days. We had the rain on Monday, but since then it's been pretty dried up across the area. It looks great. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. It's Friday night. Get out, enjoy it, at least. Even though it's hot, it's not super hot across the region, but we do need some more rain. Look at our drought tracker. Here in the red, Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, still an extreme drought. So even though we've had a little bit of rain, we need a little bit more rain. And we do have those chances as we get into early next week. All right, temperatures upper 80s to lower 90s once you get closer to the state line. Lower 90s northeastern Oklahoma, and then we have mid 90s once you get into southeastern parts of Kansas. And as we go through the evening hours, we're going to pretty much see clear skies, which you can see on our Joplin Tower cam. This is 7th and range line. It's sitting at 92 at this point in time. We have easterly winds, very light at about 5 to 10. So through the evening, clear skies. We'll drop back through the 90s, 80s into lower 70s a little bit later on tonight. But here's the good news. Our humidity is fairly low. These are our dew points. This measures the amount of moisture at the surface, puts it in a degree form. In the summer, when we're hanging out right around 60, which we are right now, you can see it makes it feel not too bad outside. And that's what we are going to see as we go through the rest of the evening hours. All right, not much going on outside. We have pretty much clear skies, kind of like what we have seen over the past couple days. A couple little guys popped up south central parts of Missouri, but we're not going to get any rain here. In fact, you got a track across the southern plains. Of course, you got the monsoon going on out across the Rockies. But for us, big dome of high pressure in charge. Until that breaks down, we're not going to see a whole lot of changes in our forecast. In fact, we're going to creep up temperature-wise next couple days. So we're going to start the day lower 70s, of course, heading into the weekend, which is always nice. Into the 90s, right around 90 by the noon hour, and I think most of us will top out 96, 97 degrees, so we're going to get up there. 92 by noon, high temp at 99, south wind 5 to 10, humidity a little bit higher for us tomorrow. Yates Center, Independence, Sedan, you should hit 100, Chanute as well. Tomorrow night, we drop back mid 70s, 4 overnight lows. We may get a few clouds in here, and then on Sunday, we heat up again. Now, we have a front that starts to press in, so our northern counties, you may stay in the mid 90s, but I think most of us right around 100 degrees. There could be a few isolated thunderstorms as we get into Sunday night and Monday, but our better chances for rain for all of us are going to move in early next week. We have a front that's going to try to press in late Monday, giving us some showers, some thunderstorms into Tuesday, and that is something we definitely need, plus cooling us down just a bit. 97 tomorrow, 102 on Sunday, 101 on Monday, 100 on Tuesday. Thunderstorm chances, especially late Monday night into Tuesday, into Wednesday morning. But as that front finally sinks through, we're looking at a high of 84 on Wednesday, 89 on Thursday before we creep back up late next week. But at least we get a little bit of a relief for the middle part of next week.
And it's so nice having those nice nighttime temperatures.
Yeah, those are creeping up again now.
Oh, man, you had to ruin that too, Doug.
I know.
See you a little bit. Thanks so much. Hey, if you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscasts live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on the Apple and Google Play stores, as well as Roku and Amazon Fire TV. All you have to do is search for KOAM Plus. Coming up, harvesting an invasive species to create new versions of a popular alcohol. But first, pause to honor a local veteran. Ralph Ray Shell served in the U.S. Air Force from 1963 to 1967. A Jasper, Missouri native was stationed in Japan. We are proud to thank and salute Ralph Ray Shell. He's this evening's four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Johnson & Johnson says it's going to discontinue its talc-based baby powder worldwide. This comes about 2 years after doing so here in North America. The pharma giant faces nearly 40,000 lawsuits claiming the talc powder caused illnesses, including cancer, because of asbestos contamination, which is a known carcinogen. In a statement, though, J&J says it stands behind its decades of independent scientific analysis, confirming its talc baby powder is safe, does not contain asbestos, and does not cause cancer. Driving off with that shiny new car is likely to cost more than ever. Auto research company Kelley Blue Book says the average price Americans paid for a new vehicle in July hit a record of more than $48,000. Unusually high demand and low inventories are driving new car prices higher. And once you buy a car, the expenses keep mounting, unfortunately. AAA says owning a vehicle typically costs close to $900 a year, up from just over $800 in 2021. Bad news for anyone hoping rising mortgage rates will put pressure on home prices to fall. They're not. According to the National Association of Realtors, home prices rose by 14.2% in the last quarter from a year prior. Though that's a bit less than the more than 15% that went up in the first quarter, it's still well above wage growth and even inflation. The median price for a single-family home is now $413,000. That's the first time it's ever climbed about $400,000. Warming ocean temperatures from climate change are causing the European green crab population on the East Coast to explode. Well, now a New England distillery is harvesting the invasive species for a new kind of whiskey. Reporter Elise Preston went to Tamworth, New Hampshire to give it a try.
We start with a good sniff.
At Tamworth Distilling and Mercantile, Will Robinson is introducing visitors to his small batch handcrafted whiskey infused with flavors from the ocean.
And what am I tasting?
You get the whiskey and then you get once you swallow it and you get it down, you get kind of some of the butteriness of the meat.
The meat comes from European green crabs, harvested along the New Hampshire coastline. The first batch of Robinson's Crab Trapper whiskey sold out shortly after hitting distillery shelves.
What has the response been like?
Insane.
The unusual whiskey crab pairing isn't just about flavor. Robinson is helping control the green crab population.
Their sheer numbers are kind of throwing things off, not leaving enough food for in one place in the ecosystem, and then just wreaking havoc in other ways.
The European green crab arrived on the East Coast about 200 years ago after hitchhiking on boats from overseas. Recent warming sea temperatures have caused the population to increase dramatically, and it's now one of the most invasive species in the U.S., threatening communities of oysters, clams, and mussels.
We don't get the really long, cold winters anymore, and so they can start mating and reproducing and doing all what they need to do earlier and longer.
Gabriella Brott with the New Hampshire Sea Grant says green crabs are tough to eat because they have a very hard shell and very little meat. She's working to find a way to identify when the green crab is about to shed its hard shell. A new soft shell means the whole crab can be eaten.
Get people a taste of a really good seafood product. We do a pretty good job eating down populations.
They're already on menus in New England and now in a whiskey.
It's an experience that brings about environmental awareness.
Awareness Robinson hopes will push others to deal with invasive species across the country. Elise Preston, CBS News, Tamworth, New Hampshire.
Gabriella Brott says there are trials underway as well to turn the green crabs into other products, things like pet food and fertilizer. Brand says all the efforts being made in New England will help scientists control the growing population of invasive green crabs now seen on the West Coast. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, more on the search warrant authorizing the search of Mar-a-Lago being unsealed. Then on KOAM News at 6, there are 3 new principals in the Joplin School District. Going to hear from them. Plus, more on community efforts to make sure every Mcdonald County student has a backpack for the new school year. And a local hospital holding an event to show its appreciation for our first responders. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Another hot weekend in store for us, huh?
I could stay in Chris Warner's box.
He grew suddenly. All this heat, it makes things grow.
I know.
Another hot weekend.
Yeah, temperatures are going to be upper 90s for us tomorrow. 102 on Sunday, 101 on Monday, 100 on Tuesday. So we do have a hot stretch, but we do have chances for showers and thunderstorms, especially late Monday night into Tuesday, and then cooling us down a bit by the middle of next week, which will be nice, but overall, the weekend's just going to be hot and dry.
So after that, we're done with the 90 degrees. And,
No.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you at 6.